What do you get when you combine Gabriel Knight, cosmic horror and Finnish folklore? Well, that's something I'm trying to figure out in my upcoming horror game called The Polar Darkness. It's a slow-burning investigative adventure game set in the rural Finland during the 1980s. The main character, Emma Järvelä, a journalist, is sent to a remote village to cover a controversial revival movement led by a charismatic cult leader and her child preacher. When the boy mysteriously disappears during a sermon and a blizzard traps everyone in the village, Emma is forced to investigate a secret the community has protected for generations. The story combines elements from cosmic horror and Finnish folklore and wraps everything in a psychological horror adventure. The game features pretty unique visuals, as the characters are high-resolution 2D sprites and they are combined with atmospheric 3D environments. This approach allows extreme close-ups with the characters and it creates pretty awesome uncanny feeling where everything feels just slightly off. Here's me transforming into one of the characters. This dude is a gas station owner, a bit of a troubled soul. Bear in mind the period correct facial hair because that's important later on in the video. First I need some mugshots. I import them to Photoshop, remove backgrounds and organize the faces with the rest of the character sprite. After I'm happy with the results, I save the file as a PNG and dump it to Unity. I start with splicing the sprite and then it's time to rig it. Adding bones to the sprite allows me to deform it during runtime, which is essential if I want to have any kind of movement for the character. I'm not much of a sprite sheet animator, so I work with rig sprites. For this game that's basically the only way to go, because I'm aiming for uncanny photorealism, which really enhances the overall atmosphere of the game. After the sprite work is done, it's time to build the actual character. Hierarchies matter, so I'm dropping the sub-sprites as children for the correct bones. Once I'm done with that, I'll replace the default sprite material with the one that reacts to Unity's 3D lighting. After some animation magic, I have successfully transformed myself into a NPC character. The environments are built on 3D models. I really need to nail down the atmosphere of the 1980s, so I'm making most of them from scratch. Here I'm making a traditional Finnish cow barn, which is going to be one of the set pieces on an isolated farm. There's a distinct style in these structures where the actual animal shelter is made from bricks and it's accompanied with a wooden warehousing area for hay and wheat. After I modeled the structure, I dump it into Unity and slice a sprite sheet to add some texture. All the sprites in the game use the same shader, so I can nicely batch the draw calls, and this approach really fits the general atmosphere of the game. When I'm done with the exteriors, I start to work with the insides. This does look pretty cool, and there's a little sneak peek on the other more finished structures of the game. Entering a building slides the front wall down so gameplay doesn't get interrupted, and these set pieces almost reek 1980s Finland. The game takes place in an imaginary village of Susiluoma, which is literally in the middle of nowhere. The village will have several distinct locations and buildings to explore. I'm going to make the game area relatively compact, which feeds nicely to the feeling of isolation. When the blizzard hits and you're stuck at Susiluoma, you really need to feel that there's no escape. I mentioned Gabriel Knight at the beginning of the video. I absolutely love those games, and especially how they are structured. The games are divided to days, so I'm adapting the same structure for the Polar Darkness. The game is split into 3 days, and completing puzzles, tasks or interactions advance the in-game clock. A similar system was used in Gabriel Knight 3, and I don't understand why it hasn't been copied more broadly, because this is an excellent way to pace and structure both the game and the narrative. This approach also creates replay value, because you can't be everywhere all at once. You have to make decisions where to go and what to do, so the nuances of the story depend on what you choose. I want the players to connect some of the dots by themselves. This is a detective story by heart, after all. I've played point-and-click adventure games for almost my entire life. I absolutely love the genre, and I've made a few adventure games before. I'll mention the Gabriel Knight trilogy once more, because those are one of my all-time favorite games. The first one is on my top 3 best games of all time, right on par with The Secret of Monkey Island and Star Trek 25th Anniversary. I have a bunch of Sierra and LucasArts titles on my shelves, so I got the references sorted out pretty good. And I've actually written a non-fiction book about classic adventure games 10 years ago. The Polar Darkness is something I've been thinking and planning for roughly 10 years. I wanted to make a horror title set in the close proximity of Christmas because there's a plethora of things I can use from Finnish folklore to really deliver a unique horror title. Placing the game in northernmost Finland at the heart of winter also adds in the fact that sun doesn't rise. It's cold and dark all the time. Besides the adventure games, I draw inspiration from the works of H.P. Lovecraft, and these themes are easily combined with Finnish folklore. Remember what I said about the facial hair before? I shaved my beard to become an NPC, so hopefully you appreciate the sacrifice. The Steam page for the Polar Darkness is open. If you want to support and follow development, I'd really appreciate a wishlist. The link is in the comments.